Hey everybody, Ray Davenport, your Director of Wellness and Sports Performance. Today we're going to focus on a muscle group that will make you a better athlete immediately. That is the glutes. In order to have strong and stable hips and have them function the way we want them to with lateral stability, front stability, and rotation properly, we've got to train them in a lot of different ways. We've got 6 different variations that we're going to go over today. I will give you options within each movement pattern that you can start implementing in your workouts. So let's take a look. First up, we're going to take a look at squat variations. Now, my favorite is the goblet squat to start people off because it's easy to get into. We're not loading the spine, and it's very simple. So feet are just about hip width seen here. We're going to lower our hips down as slowly as we can starting out. Really try to key in on your form. Knees are tracking just over the toes. We're allowing them to track forward. And then as you push up, we're keeping that core nice and strong. Okay, do anywhere from 8 to 12 repetitions with a challenging weight. 2 to 3 sets is a good place to start. Next up are deadlift variations. My personal favorite of these is the offset single leg deadlift. So if you just put one foot out to the side and allow your hips to push back as that knee tracks over the ankle. Really want to keep a nice flat back and strong core, and then pull up and get into full hip extension at the top. If you're not sure what you're doing here, I encourage you to watch my Mastering the Hip Hinge video. It will give you a full breakdown on where you can start with these kind of movements just to be safe. Next up, we have hip thrust variations. The most simple hip thrust that you can do starting out is just a glute bridge laying on the floor. It's really important though that we feel those glutes firing under. I encourage you to kind of give yourself a self-check and make sure you're using the right muscles. If the hamstrings start to cramp, that's a good indication that we're struggling to fire the glutes. Here is a creative option using a cable machine and a resistance band to sort of take the back out of it and not create any excessive load on the spine. You would just need to hold on to a corner of the rig and do that standing hip thrust version. Another great example of the hip thrust is the bench hip thrust. So our back is on a bench, we're allowing our hips to drop down towards the ground, and then we're pressing back up. You can do this single leg version too, just to create a little more complexity to the exercise and make it a little more difficult. One of the best ways to get to the smaller muscles, the medius and the minimus, are resistance loop exercises. Now, I like to position this loop either around my ankles or around my knees, but either will work. And for the lateral step, all we're doing is taking one step to the side, really extending from the hip as far as we can, and taking a step to the other side. Repeat this 30 to 45 seconds, 15 to 20 reps on each side, whichever comes first, or until you feel that burn in those small muscles. The other exercise we will do with the band is seated external rotation, positioning yourself on the edge of a box or a bench, and we're just going to allow those knees to open up, really squeeze at the end range, and then slowly control back to center. Now, in my opinion, one of the most fun exercises for my lower body are Bulgarian split squats, but there are a lot of split squat variations you can do. Here is an example of that Bulgarian split squat. It is just elevating the rear foot, and we are allowing our body to go down into our what appears to be kind of a single leg squat position. Also might resemble a lunge. Really focus on maintaining good spine angle, so we're tilting forward a little bit to match our shin angle, and then we're pushing through the center of the foot to come back up to the top. So the last one I want to talk about is the 45-degree hyperextension, and if you've seen this, you might think it's a back exercise, and certainly there are some benefits to the low back when done correctly, but I want to talk about it focusing on the glutes. So here you'll see we're folding forward from the waist, our legs are hooked in, heels are against those pads, and as we pull back up, we're really going to focus in on squeezing those glutes under and pulling myself with that posterior chain. Try not to overextend and lift the shoulders too high, just go as far as you can feel that squeeze in that upper pelvis area. So these are just a few of the options and exercises that you have in terms of glute development. I really think you'll like how stable your hips feel if you start incorporating some of these exercises into your personal routine. If you have any questions about any of these exercises that we've covered here or alternatives to these movements, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you however I can.